Let's talk about what just happened on state regime media, the network that calls itself Fox News. Because what we witnessed wasn't journalism, it wasn't analysis, and it certainly wasn't reality. What we saw was a full-blown meltdown, a nervous breakdown happening live on air after Donald Trump delivered one of the most bizarre, rambling, and widely criticized speeches of his political career. And here's the thing. This wasn't just criticism from the left. It wasn't partisan. The reaction was bipartisan. The left criticized it, the center criticized it, even many on the right criticized it. Political analysts, voters, and commentators across the spectrum all agreed on one thing: the speech was bad. Except on Fox. On Fox News, reality ceased to exist. Instead of acknowledging what the rest of the country saw, they flipped into full propaganda mode, Orwellian, cult-like, detached from facts, detached from sanity, detached from the lived experience of Americans watching their lives get harder every single day. They looked straight into the camera and told their audience that what they had just watched was incredible, that it was disciplined, that it was calm, that it was one of the most powerful speeches Trump has ever given. And I want you to understand just how dangerous that is. Because this wasn't spin, this was not interpretation, this was coordinated, state-style propaganda, the kind you expect from authoritarian regimes, not from a network that pretends to be a free press. Let's start with the opening reactions. You had Sean Hannity sitting there, nodding along, praising the speech, saying things like, "Wow, what a difference a year makes," and then immediately pivoting to attacking President Biden, saying he wouldn't even be capable of delivering such a speech. That's the move every time. Deflect, distract, never engage with substance. Then they bring on guests whose job is not to analyze, but to flatter. One after another, these talking heads tell viewers that Trump was kind, calm, engaging, and that the speech was filled with truth, while accusing the mainstream media of lying. This is classic projection. They accuse others of lying while actively lying to their audience in real time. We're talking about a speech that many described as rambling, erratic, and disconnected. A speech that sounded less like a plan for the country and more like an Adderall-fueled grievance rant from someone spiraling under pressure. Yet Fox News insisted it was presidential. Then you had Lindsey Graham gushing, absolutely gushing, calling it one of the most incredible speeches ever delivered. And at that point, it becomes impossible to pretend this is good faith commentary. This is cult behavior. You are not allowed to criticize the leader. You are not allowed to question the message. You are not allowed to acknowledge reality if it conflicts with the narrative. And when Newt Gingrich came on, it got even worse. He said Trump was disciplined, prepared, organized, that Democrats should be very nervous. Let's be serious for a moment. Donald Trump's approval ratings are among the worst in modern presidential history. He is underwater in nearly every major category: the economy, trust, stability, competence, temperament. Yet Fox News wants its viewers to believe Democrats are trembling in fear because Trump gave a 19-minute speech. That's not analysis, that's fantasy. And this is why it's impossible to reason with people who consume this content exclusively. They are being fed an alternate reality, one where failure is success, chaos is strength, and accountability is persecution. That's why even as more Americans wake up, there are still millions who look at this and say, "Yeah, that makes sense to me." That should terrify everyone, because propaganda works. Now, let's move to the next distraction. Right as serious questions are emerging about corruption, about accountability, about the Epstein files, about the FBI, suddenly Fox pivots. Laura Ingraham comes on to explain why the deputy FBI director is suddenly stepping down just days before major Epstein-related documents are set to be released. And instead of addressing the timing, the implications, or the public concern, she tells viewers not to worry. It's totally normal. He just misses his media career. Nothing to see here. Move along. And that's the pattern. Whenever accountability gets close, Fox creates noise. They distract, they deflect,
They trivialize, they pivot to culture war nonsense, lifestyle chatter, or personal gossip, anything but the truth. Then you have Jim Jordan, who spent months attacking special counsel Jack Smith, suddenly clamming up after Smith testifies. And notice what happened. Jack Smith offered to testify publicly. He said, "Let's do this in front of the American people. Let's put everything on the table." And suddenly, the tough guys didn't want it public anymore. They wanted it private. Why? Because when the facts are exposed, the narrative collapses. From everything we know, Jack Smith laid out Donald Trump's crimes in painstaking detail. The classified documents, the obstruction, the January 6th conspiracy. And Fox News didn't want that anywhere near their audience. So instead, they pivoted again. Suddenly, we're talking about dating apps. Yes, dating apps. At a time when Americans are struggling to afford rent, food, health care, Fox News is asking Kayleigh McEnany about her dating history. That's not accidental. That's intentional misdirection. Then comes one of the most grotesque segments of all. In the aftermath of a horrific school shooting in Providence, Fox News didn't focus on the victims. They didn't focus on gun violence. They didn't focus on solutions. They attacked the mayor. They attacked the city. They attacked the university. They accused leadership of incompetence while simultaneously absolving federal authorities of responsibility. Jesse Waters actually said the FBI had no jurisdiction. Think about that. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, has no jurisdiction? And when confronted with the chaos, the misinformation, the mishandling, Fox didn't demand accountability from institutions. They blamed local leadership. They blamed progressives. They even attacked the mayor for participating in a pride parade. Because apparently, to Fox News, marching for equality is more offensive than children being killed. This is the moral rot at the core of MAGA media. And while all of this is happening, while Fox screams about culture wars and imaginary enemies, the actual data tells a devastating story. Job losses are up, unemployment has risen, wages are stagnating, people are working more and earning less, healthcare costs are rising, housing is unaffordable. Even Fox had to admit it. They acknowledged cracks in the labor market. They admitted job creation is slowing. They admitted wages are lower. And yet, despite all of that, they will still tell their viewers that everything is fine, that Trump is winning, that the best is yet to come. This is not journalism. This is propaganda. And the reason it matters is because democracy cannot function when millions of people are intentionally misled. The good news is this: more Americans are waking up. They see the disconnect. They feel the pain in their wallets. They recognize the lies. But we can't be complacent. We have to call this out. We have to expose it. We have to keep telling the truth, loudly, clearly, and relentlessly. Because the truth still matters, and no amount of state regime propaganda can change reality.